The transfer portal cycle closes today, and with SMU's roster starting to take shape, Rhett Lashlee is in an interesting situation of having to reestablish his culture to a bunch of new guys.
You are Locked On SMU, your daily podcast on the SMU Mustangs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Locked On SMU on this Friday as we wrap up another week and the second week of the transfer portal cycle following the season. My name is Grayson Singleton. Glad you're making us your first listen of the day and for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Our episode today is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. The college football playoff is here, and FanDuel is the best place to get in on the action all playoff long. So visit FanDuel.com to get your college football playoff profit boost every single game day with FanDuel. Coming up on the show today, SMU basketball after the miraculous win over Virginia Tech. Can they come out of this funk that they've been in over the last week or so? We'll talk about that. Plus, what is the road to the ACC championship in 2026 starting to look like as we are nearing the close of the transfer portal cycle? So we'll talk about that to close up the show. But first, SMU turned over a lot of its roster. And we've talked about tired defensive line gone, Isaiah Nwokobia gone, Ahmaad Moses gone, Jordan Hudson gone, TJ Harding gone, and whatnot, Logan Parr gone. But you know what's interesting about all that? So many leaders are in those names that I just brought up. Logan Parr, Isaiah Nwokobia, Cam Robertson, and Isaiah Smith, Ahmaad Moses. They lost not just a lot of really good players, but a lot of good leaders. And one of the hardest parts of this transfer portal era that we now live in, which I think a lot of it is a good thing, one of the hardest parts is you're losing leaders a lot of times, year over year, whether it's graduation or transfer portal and a mix of both, right? I think this year is going to be Rhett Lashlee's most challenging year to reestablish its culture. Because think about what he lost. Not only did he lose all those leaders, he also lost Casey Woods as well. It's a real blessing that Kevin Jennings is back for SMU because I don't know where you turn from a leadership standpoint that has been in the program if he was not back and he wasn't eligible and didn't have a one more year of eligibility to exhaust at SMU. So this year's going to be Rhett Lashlee's most tough year. And you look at where a lot of the roster turnover happened, it didn't happen in the margins. It happened at key places. It happened at wide receiver. It happened at playmaker on defense. It happened on the defensive line that probably was SMU's best unit, top to bottom, beginning to end this season. And who takes the leadership role next? Obviously Kevin Jennings, but beyond him, who is going to be that liaison between the coach and his staff and everybody else? We don't know. Is a guy like Alex Kilgore going to have to step into a role like that? I think so. Is there extra leadership pressure forced on a guy like a Marcellus Barnes? Tyron Polley, younger guy, but is he going to have to step up and be that kind of a leader? PJ Williams, I'm looking at him. He might have to take a step forward. It probably will have to take a step forward as one of the elder statesmen on this SMU team. But you can't count on Jarvis Lee to just come in and be it. You can't count on Yannick Smith or Theo Mellon Ostrom, or Randy Pittman, or Jimmy Wyrick, or any of those guys. And sure, they might be naturally born leaders. And if they are, and they can step in and fulfill in some capacity a leadership role, that is outstanding. Outstanding. But it shouldn't be the expectation. And sure, the presence of leadership qualities could have factored in to SMU's decision to pursue these guys and ultimately sign them. But you can't. You can't just count on it. and expect them to come into a new spot and all of a sudden be the voice that the players rally around. That's just an unfair expectation. So it's going to be incumbent upon Rhett Lashlee and his staff to figure out, all right, new sets of leaders, a lot of new players, a lot of new freshmen that are going to be looking for direction and guidance in terms of transitioning to the college game. This is going to be a tough ask for Coach Lashlee. What we know about Coach Lashlee, he can politic for his players and for his conference and for his school. He can galvanize people around him. He can call plays. He can make in-game decisions. He's not terrible at that. He's not perfect, but he's not terrible. But can he reinstill this culture this year? You got to look at what's been going on in the backdrop of SMU, right? During the days of Jordan Hudson and Ahmaad Moses and Isaiah Nwokobia, you got to realize what's been going on here. You made the move to the Power Four, and you have had a double-digit win year where you made the college football playoff, and you had a near double-digit year with a Holiday Bowl win. SMU has seen success since they've been in the Power Four, but they have lost leaders in the process. You lost 2 inside linebackers who were excellent leaders coming into the 2025 season. And then you get through the 2025 season, Kevin Jennings emerges as an Iron Man, a guy that people want to fall behind because this is a dude on a terribly bum ankle that is still out there giving it his best. Absolutely, you want to follow that guy. And then you got Jordan Hudson and Logan Parr and Isaiah Nwokobia and Ahmaad Moses and all those guys. And now all of them except for Jennings are gone. So you've had to replace leaders a couple of years ago. You're having to replace them now, all while you're trying to maintain this level of, in recent memory, unprecedented success at SMU. This is going to be a challenge for Rhett Lashlee. We are going to learn a lot about Rhett Lashlee, the coach, and we're going to learn a lot about Rhett Lashlee, the man, and how he can figure out to take his skills and his charisma and do it with an overturned roster. Do it again. And he's going to have to do it again in 2027 and probably do it again in 2028. It's going to be a skill, but it's something Rhett's going to have to do. And this is also in the midst, keep this in mind too, all of you, because a lot of you guys are privy to this as well. This is also in the midst of him trying to work on and improve himself. There's situational play calling that he can get better at. There's situational game management that he can be better at. There are game plan things that he can be better at, certainly. Like, he's not a perfect coach. Don't get me wrong, even though we all love him. But in the midst of him self-scouting and trying to better himself, he's got to go ahead and reinstill a culture because a lot of his leaders over the last couple of years have graduated out of the program. Circle of life kind of stuff, right? But at the end of this transfer portal cycle, we can talk all we want about the guys that we like that they brought in. They brought in a veteran like Kendrick Raphael, a guy that's been around, and Randy Pittman, and Theo Mellon Orstrom, and Jarvis Lee, who's played a lot of football. We can talk about all of that, but who's going to emerge as leaders for this SMU team alongside Kevin Jennings? You got your quarterback, and that's a really good start. You got a head coach that you believe in? That's outstanding. You've got a good foundation. What's next? Who's going to come alongside as well is going to be a very interesting question. One of my thoughts when we talk about things in the transfer portal cycle. All right, coming up next, let's talk some basketball because SMU basketball got the big win over Virginia Tech. Can they snap out of this funk, though, and get back to playing really good basketball against Virginia? We'll talk about that on the other side. Keep it here on Locked On SMU. The college football playoff is here, and FanDuel is giving all customers even more ways to get in on the action every single game day of the playoffs. Because right now, every college football playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost waiting for them inside the app. Here's what I love about it. You get to use the profit boost on the bets you already feel good about. Ride with the favorite when you think a team controls the matchup. Or take a shot on the underdog if you feel that an upset is brewing. And build a parlay around the players and moments that you think could decide the game as well. You know how I love to take my shot at those player lines and the over and unders and whatnot, you can provide the profit boost with that as well. All you got to do, apply that profit boost and go after even bigger winnings. And when you win, FanDuel pays out instantly, which is perfect for playoff football. FanDuel is the best place to get in on the action all playoff long, so visit FanDuel.com to get your college football playoff profit boost every single game day with FanDuel. All right, welcome back to the show. And before we get to basketball, first of all, thank you for making us your first listen of the day. Want to tell you about the Locked On Everydayer Club. You guys have got to get on this because this is outstanding. If you make us your first listen of the day and you don't miss an episode, you're going to want this, an ad-free feed for Locked On SMU. If you want to listen in your car, in your AirPods, or whatever, in the gym, you can get us without ad interruptions. And plus, you get an invite to a members-only Discord server where you can hang out with a bunch of other Locked On Everydayers and some of our hosts as well here at the company. So it's $5 a month or $50 a year, so excellent value. And here's how you do it. You can go to lockedonsmu.supercast.com to learn more and to join the Everydayer Club, or click the link in the show notes as well that are on Spotify or other major podcast distributors, as well as the YouTube comments as well. So check out our Everydayer Club today. Okay, SMU men's basketball. It's been quite the whirlwind. Win the game against North Carolina, drop the next two, one to Clemson, one to Duke, come back home, and Boopie Miller does Boopie Miller things. First of all, I got to say this. Whoever had their hand on the pyrotechnics button, you are the man of the hour as well. I mean, when the flames go off before the ball hits the ground, that's cold. That was cold. So I just got to shout out that guy. But SMU, especially in this game, didn't play well. They just didn't. I was on Twitter last night and I saw one tweet. Somebody said, how the actual F did we win this game? Good question. Good question, because SMU didn't play well. They didn't play particularly well, didn't defend well, didn't rebound well, did not shoot the ball well at all. 20% from 3 of 15. Yikes. So can they come out of this funk? Now, I will say this. It has been a challenging last week or so for SMU basketball. And there are parts in a schedule, in basketball, in football, in any sport, there are parts of a schedule where you just have to survive, right? So, for instance, with SMU, a team in Texas going on the road to Clemson, you're staying on the East Coast because you're going to Durham next to play the game against Duke, and then while you're over there, you got a bunch of dudes with the flu. Okay? Now, obviously, the flu was not a scheduled part of the season, obviously, but when one of those guys is your best player and the other is a sharpshooter that you can deploy situationally, that will hinder the team, especially given the fact that you didn't know whether or not you were going to have Boopie, right? And then you come back home, Boopie is still recovering from lingering effects from the injury. Like, there are parts of a season where you just have to survive. That's a real thing. And they played good enough with Boopie Miller's heroics to win a game. They did just that. Now, how do you get out of that funk? Number one, there are things that I think will correct themselves. I do not think the three-point shooting will be as bad. I don't think we will see SMU shoot 20% from three the rest of the year unless they play against some team that is known for suffocating defense. I don't think that's going to happen. I do think they will have a come-to-Jesus moment about what the hell is going on the boards. Because the rebounding numbers can look okay, but situationally when it's time to rebound, they don't rebound very well. They get beat on 50-50 balls a lot. They're going to have a moment of reckoning where they say, this has got to be better. They were so lucky to win that game and not have to go to overtime against Virginia Tech. Because you're talking about a situation where you foul to put Virginia Tech on the line, they miss the front end of the 1-and-1, get an offensive rebound, you foul again, and then they miss the front end again, which sets up Boopie Miller. And by the way, the referees go to the monitor, make sure our time is right. All right, let me add an extra second here. So many things had to go right down the stretch for SMU to win that game against Virginia Tech. So we all know they've got to play better. They've got to shoot the ball better. They've got to rebound the ball better, especially situationally. And I do think they can. And I think Boopie being as far as he continues to get further and further away from that illness, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. He'll shoot it better. He'll be more aggressive earlier in games. I thought Debbie Antonelli on the broadcast did an excellent job talking about just how Boopie flows through games. Even though I do think he was less assertive at the beginning of the game, trying to get his legs back underneath him, which obviously you can understand. So a lot of this is going to be, when it comes to SMU basketball, just timing of it all. Basketball is a long season. You have scheduling disadvantages at certain points in the year, and I do think they're going to come out of this funk. Now, they're going to have to come out of it fast because Virginia is a really good basketball team. They defend well. They can score the basketball. They are long and athletic. They're a really good basketball team, a fun team to watch as well. So the Mustangs got to be more buttoned up. So here's what I'm looking for, because I'm not going to talk to you again until next Monday. Here's what I'm looking for with this game. Number one, can you shoot in the 35% range from three? If they can do that, if they can shoot in the 35% range from three, I feel pretty good about it, especially being at home. You should be able to do that at home. Also, can they rebound and decisively outwork Virginia? Can they decisively outwork Virginia? I think it's going to go a long way toward them winning the game. You don't lose that many games when you outwork the opponent on your own floor. You generally don't lose those types of games. So those are the two pillars that I'm looking at for SMU and say, you've got to be better there. Let's shoot the ball better, which I think is going to happen because of Boopie's reemergence back into the lineup. He gets everybody where they need to be. He can operate the offense. He's one of the leading assist men in the ACC, if not the leading assist man. I have to double check on that one. But 7 assists a game is nothing to sneeze at. So I'm looking at him and the way he makes everybody better and makes everybody more comfortable and puts everybody back in their natural places on the court. And then everybody else has got to come together and say, we got outworked by Virginia Tech. We got outworked by Clemson. Enough of this nonsense. Let's go out here, get on the floor, box out people, and win those situational back and forths. You know, when I thought that SMU was going to lose the game against Virginia Tech, I thought they were going to lose that game when there was a sequence that was going up and down the floor where SMU missed a layup, bricked an open three, and Virginia Tech only scored one bucket in that sequence. But what was it? It was that three-pointer. They hit the one. I think it made it a 6-point game. And I thought, oh, this isn't going well. Nevertheless, they won it. They survived that game against Virginia Tech. And I will reiterate, basketball is a long season. There are some games that, unless you are a juggernaut, that you will have to just survive. I mean, look at Michigan. Wisconsin hung around and beat them. You didn't lose. You did not lose. You survived it. Michigan was going to have to try to survive that game, and they didn't. On, what was that, Sunday, I believe. You survived it. And that's part of a basketball season where you just have to survive and move on. They can get out of this funk now that they're back whole, now that they've really seen and really had a wake-up call and seen that we actually have to go back to work and make sure we outwork people. And I think Saturday's a good time to start that. So that's what I'm looking for with that. Coming up next, one more segment to close it out. What is the road to the ACC championship in football looking like as we near the end of the portal cycle? I've got some thoughts. I'll share them with you to close up the show. All right, welcome back. Let's close up the show talking about some ACC football. And before we do that, make sure those of you on YouTube, drop a subscription below so we can continue to grow this community. We want all of y'all to make sure that you are notified every time we have an episode premiere. So make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. For those of you on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, we appreciate you as well. Rate us, review us as well on any of those platforms. We would love to hear from you. And as always, love to interact with all of you on Twitter at Gray_Singleton2. Okay, the road back to the ACC championship, I think, is going to be more perilous. It is going to be more perilous than it was this year. I think the ACC is a daunting conference. Miami is playing for a national championship. Virginia Tech hired James Franklin. They have an excellent portal class. They had an excellent recruiting class. They are on SMU's schedule. Virginia Tech, I think, is going to be really good, and they're going to be really coached, really good, really well coached. So, Virginia Tech has entered the fray. Clemson can't be this bad for this long, right? Like, they can't be down for that long. So you got to look at Clemson. Cal, I think, while they're not, spectacular, I think Cal can do some things, as, SMU found out. Louisville, we'll see what they look like. They've got a highly ranked portal class. I believe they're in the top 10 in terms of a portal class, but that's another roster for Jeff Brom over there that they had significant turnover on. So keep that in the back of your head as well. But the ACC has got a lot of good teams. They got a lot of good teams. We're going to a 9-game conference schedule, which, yes, that means more opportunity for you to help yourself, but then there also is the other side of that double-edged sword as well. What does Duke do for an encore with Manny Diaz? Virginia, I don't expect them to just be going anywhere. So you're in a situation. Oh, and least I forget Georgia Tech and Brent Key. They just signed Justice Haynes. Running back transfer from Michigan, began his career at Alabama. So there's a lot of depth in this conference. There's a lot of really good teams. So here's what I'm looking at for SMU. Number one, you got to win your home games. You just got to. It's got to start there. You have to win your home games. That includes the game against Virginia Tech. That just has to, those things have to go your way. And you have to make it happen. In this era of the ACC, it just is a good conference. It's a good conference with a lot of competition, and they could have the national champion in it. So you're going to have to bring your A game, and it starts with your home games. Number two on this topic when it comes to this, I think you're going to have to be a lot more disciplined this year. There are just mistakes that this team made last year that I just don't think they'll be able to make this upcoming year. Just because, again, that every game is going to mean that much more. There's not going to be that many games where you get to take something off. Right? There's not going to be a game where you can have a hiccup. Looking back on it, at the beginning of the year, you probably thought Cal was going to be a game like that. Oops. So, in a conference that's getting tougher, the ones that separate themselves are going to be the ones that win their home games. They're going to be the ones that have immense discipline and awesome on-point execution. That's going to be the ones that set themselves apart. Can SMU do it? I think it starts with the quarterback. He's got to get better. No double-digit picks. It's going to start with the head coach. Can you figure out a way to get this team out of the upper echelon of most penalized teams in the conference? I would say that's got to be something that they have got to clean up going into this year. And obviously, why do I mention those things with Kevin and with Rhett turning the football over and being disciplined? Because not only are you going to have to win your home games, remember, everything's going to build on itself here. Not only are you going to have to win your home games, but you're going to have to go get some games on the road too if you want to be one of those two in the conference championship. And to win on the road in college football, really in college sports in general, you cannot give the home team extra chances, and you can't hurt yourself. You're already playing against the other team, who's probably going to be good. You got the crowd against you. There is a such thing as home cooking. So, the officials might, lean one way or the other. You know, it happens. Everybody's got an equal amount of home games. It happens. You can't beat yourself. There were a lot of times this year, and it probably cost them an ACC title berth. There were a lot of times where SMU beat itself, whether it came from coaching, whether it came from players. They just beat themselves. You can't make it tougher on yourself. SMU's got a good roster, got some good players in the portal. They're also replacing a lot of players, which is also why you got to look at it and say, don't beat yourself just because there's so much new and we don't know if SMU is going to be as talented as it was a season ago. And that also starts with Rhett, too. There are coaches that get a lot out of not being as talented, but you got to instill discipline, controlled aggression. You've got to be able to put your players in the best situations for them to perform. All of that. That's got to happen with Rhett Lashlee. So between Rhett and Kevin and the rest of the team being the recipient of that trickle down when it comes to how deep the ACC is after the portal, because a lot of these teams look good. Virginia did some good things in the portal. Virginia Tech obviously has done really good things in the portal. SMU has done good things in the portal. Miami, they'll either be a national champion or a national championship runner-up. The ACC is good. Cal feels good about itself. Clemson's not going to be down forever. Louisville, a lot of roster turnover. They're going to be feeling good about themselves. How do you respond? And you can respond by not giving teams extra chances and not beating yourself due to undisciplined sort of behaviors. That's what it's going to look like. And right now, that's where I'm sitting at with SMU as it pertains to their road back and trying to get back to the conference championship for what would be a second time in its 3 years in the conference. That's what I'm looking at. All right, appreciate you guys making us your first listen of the day. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On SMU ad-free plus members-only access to a Discord channel and a whole lot more for only $5 a month or $50 a year. So head to lockedonsmu.supercast.com or tap into the show notes to learn more as well. For those of you on YouTube, we'll send you to our 24/7 National Locked On Podcast YouTube channel. Plus, if you're listening to us on audio, make sure you make your second listen of the day Locked On College Football. We'll talk to you guys next week. Have a good weekend, everybody. Take it easy.